The city of Helion floated above the blue horizon of Earth like a second sun, wrapped in glass towers and golden lights. It was humanity's pride, the center of peace, progress, and laughter. On that evening, the orbital city was alive with sound. Drones filled the air with music, banners of glowing light drifted through the skyline, and crowds gathered for the Festival of the Extinct Ones. Every year, they celebrated the downfall of an alien race that once tried and failed to challenge humankind. Holograms of strange skeletons and forgotten symbols flashed across the plaza screens. Children laughed. Professors mocked the old myths. The extinct ones, they said, had burned themselves out with foolish wars long before humans reached the stars. They were a cautionary tale, proof that humanity was smarter, stronger, eternal. Lieutenant Kara Halen didn't laugh. She stood in the control deck above the celebration, watching the glowing planet spin below. The festival lights reflected in her visor as she monitored the sensor feed. Space looked calm, but something wasn't right. A faint pulse kept flickering across her holo display, a signal buried deep in the static. It was small, like a whisper lost in a storm. Kara leaned closer, isolating the pattern. 3 beats. Pause. 3 beats again. Not random. Intentional. She frowned. The signal came from the outer edges of the Urian system, a sector marked dead space. Nothing lived there. No colonies, no satellites, no trade routes. Only dust, old ruins, and the memory of a war so ancient most people believed it never happened. "Commander," she said, turning to the older man beside her. "I'm detecting something unusual, a repeating signal. It matches the archive pattern for ghost chatter," Commander Rios interrupted, waving his hand. "We get false readings every festival. The sensors pick up static from the solar storms. You're new here, Lieutenant. Relax." "But so, the signal." "Forget it, Halen. Go enjoy the view. The extinct ones aren't coming back to life." He laughed as he turned away, joining the other officers who were toasting the end of the celebration. Kara looked back at the screen. The pulse was still there, steady and patient. She hesitated, then saved the data under a private code. Outside the viewport, the sky shimmered as the planetary shields dimmed for the fireworks. Thousands of drones formed glowing shapes. A burning sun, a collapsing planet, the last extinct one fading into smoke. The crowd below cheered. Then the lights went out. The music stopped mid-beat. The entire city plunged into silence. Kara's monitor flickered, turning red. The weak signal she had been tracking suddenly spiked into a violent wave of energy. Lines of code scrolled across the display, symbols she had never seen before. Every console in the control deck began flashing the same message. "We were never extinct." "What the hell?" Rios shouted, running to the main screen. "Cut the transmission." Kara tried to shut down the feed, but the controls were dead. The message burned across the holographic sky, visible now to the entire city. People below stopped dancing. They stayed up in confusion. And then, through the transparent ceiling, the first streak of fire fell. It started as a single bright line, like a meteor slicing through the upper atmosphere. Then another, and another. Dozens. Hundreds. The sky turned into a web of falling flames. The alarms began to howl, long, deep tones that hadn't been heard since the war centuries ago. "This isn't a drill," Kara whispered. The ground shook as a shockwave hit the city. One of the distant towers erupted into light, collapsing into the clouds below. Shards of glass and metal rained through the air. The communication channels burst alive with screams, commands, static. Unknown vessels entering atmosphere. "Shields are offline. We're being invaded." Through the observation window, Kara saw them, dark shapes descending through the fire. They weren't meteors. They were ships, massive and jagged, with wings like broken blades. Their surfaces glowed with the same ancient symbols from the museum exhibits. The extinct ones. Kara felt her breath catch. The stories had said their ships were beautiful once, crystalline and alive. But these were twisted, blackened things. Vessels born from ashes. "Commander, we have to evacuate," she shouted. Rios stood frozen, eyes wide, as the first alien ship fired. A beam of red light sliced through the skyline, cutting through a row of buildings like paper. The entire city tilted as explosions rippled through its base structure. People were thrown into the air as gravity failed. Kara grabbed onto a rail and hit the emergency beacon. "This is Lieutenant Kara Halen of Helion Station. We are under attack by unknown hostiles." Her voice was drowned out by static. The beacon lights died. Power gone. Outside, the falling ships kept coming. Dozens. Hundreds. Each one leaving trails of fire across the dark. The orbital defense fleet began to rise from Earth's surface, but before the first ships reached orbit, the sky turned crimson. Energy bursts struck them from above, burning them out of existence before they could fight back. Kara stumbled to her feet, coughing through the smoke. The control deck was in ruins. Rios was gone. The city's lights were gone. Only the glow of the burning sky remained. In the flickering red light, her console screen blinked once more, one final line of text before it died. "You laughed when we fell. Now you fall with us." Kara stared at the message, heart pounding, as the deck began to break apart beneath her. She looked up one last time through the shattered glass dome and saw something vast moving behind the clouds, a ship larger than the city itself. Its shadow swallowed the stars. And then, as fire rained across Helion, the sky screamed. The once bright city now hung broken above Earth, a wounded jewel bleeding fire into the clouds. Smoke rose from the shattered towers as pieces of Helion drifted apart, glowing red with heat. The festival lights were gone, replaced by chaos and screams echoing through the comm channels. Lieutenant Kara Halen crawled from the wreckage of the control deck, her suit cracked, her breath shallow. The gravity field flickered in and out, sending debris floating past her like ghosts. She looked down through the transparent floor panels and saw what was left of the city, people running, fires spreading, drones crashing into each other. The once beautiful arc of Helion now looked like a burning wheel turning slowly toward destruction. "Kara, to anyone still alive," she called into her wristcom. "Report in. I repeat, is anyone receiving me?" Only static answered. Then, faintly, a voice broke through the noise. "Lieutenant, this is Engineering Bay 3. We're trapped. Oxygen running low." Kara forced herself to move. The emergency corridors were twisted and full of smoke. As she floated through the wreckage, she saw bodies drifting, civilians, officers, children still clutching festival balloons that no longer glowed. She reached the lift shaft. The controls were dead, so she climbed down manually, her gloves scraping over the metal. The sound of explosions echoed through the shaft as another section of the city tore free and fell into Earth's atmosphere below. Through the small window, she saw streaks of fire descending, the remains of Helion raining down on the planet. When she finally reached Bay 3, the door was jammed. She used a plasma cutter to burn through the lock. Inside, 3 survivors huddled near a broken generator. One of them, a young technician named Jace, looked up in shock when she entered. "Lieutenant, we thought everyone was dead." "Not yet," Kara said, coughing as smoke filled her helmet filter. "What's the situation?" "Power's gone. Communication grids fried. And we've got readings from outside." He pointed to a flickering screen. "Something's moving among the debris. Not human ships." Kara leaned closer. On the display, small black shapes crawled through the ruins, machines with long, sharp limbs. They were cutting through whole fragments, searching for something. "Drones," Jace whispered. "Alien drones." The group watched as one of the machines tore open a crash transport and pulled out a survivor. The man screamed, his voice lost in the vacuum, before the drone injected him with a beam of light and carried him away. "They're taking people," Kara said quietly. "Not killing them. Collecting." "Collecting for what?" She didn't answer. She already feared the reason. Outside the viewport, one of the drones turned its head. Its red eye locked directly onto the bay window. Then it launched itself forward. "Down!" Kara shouted. The glass shattered as the drone crashed through, metal legs slicing the air. The room decompressed instantly. Alarms wailed. Kara fired her plasma pistol, hitting the drone's eye. It screeched, sparks flying, before collapsing in a heap of molten alloy. The pressure doors sealed automatically, saving them from being sucked out into space. Everyone gasped for breath. Jay stayed at the destroyed drone. They found us. Others will come. We need to reach the evacuation pods, Kara said, reloading her weapon. If the main hangar's intact, we can launch toward Earth's surface. They made their way through dark tunnels filled with smoke and drifting metal. The glow from distant fires flickered across the walls. Somewhere far below, the city's power core was failing, the deep, low hum of it growing weaker every second. When they reached the observation deck, the sight made them all stop. Hell Ion was falling. Massive cracks split through its structure. Entire sections had broken loose and were tumbling into the atmosphere, leaving trails of flame. Above them, the alien ships hung like silent predators, their hulls pulsing with dark light. No engines, no visible weapons, just silent power. And beyond them, a shape in orbit, larger than anything human. A command vessel of the extinct ones. Its surface shimmered like black glass. Jace whispered, they were supposed to be gone. Kara clenched her fists. They weren't extinct. We erased them, and they came back. She looked at the ruined Earth defense fleet scattered below, then back at the alien armada. The truth hit her like a punch. This wasn't a war of conquest. It was revenge. A voice crackled suddenly through her comm. Lieutenant Halen, this is General Morik from Earth Command. We're receiving fragments of your distress call. What's your situation? General, Hell Ion is lost. The extinct ones have returned. They're inside our orbit. We need immediate evacuation. Morik's tone was grim. We see them. The fleet is mobilizing, but we've already lost half our ships. Do not engage. Get your team to safety. Earth is preparing counterstrike protocols. Understood, Kara said. But General, they are not here to invade. They are here for something else. Static cut her off. Moments later, a deep vibration shook the station. From the alien flagship, a beam of dark energy fired toward the planet. It wasn't an attack. It was a signal, a pulse that rippled through space and into the crust of Earth itself. The skies lit up. Storms formed instantly, hurricanes twisting from nothing. On the surface, old ruins, long buried, began to glow. Jace stared in terror. What did they just do? Kara didn't know, but deep in her gut, she felt it. This was only the beginning. The extinct ones weren't trying to destroy humanity's cities. They were awakening something far older. And as Hell Ion continued to fall apart around them, Kara swore she could hear a sound beneath the explosions, a low, rhythmic pulse echoing from the stars. A heartbeat. The world below burned in streaks of gold and red. From orbit, the chaos looked almost beautiful, like ribbons of fire wrapping around the Earth. But for Lieutenant Kara Halen and the few survivors drifting in the broken remains of Hell Ion, it was the sight of humanity's downfall. Her shuttle trembled as it pushed through the debris field. Pieces of the city floated everywhere, glowing shards, broken antennas, the remains of people and machines alike. Kara sat in the pilot's seat, hands trembling slightly as she guided the small craft toward open space. Behind her, Jace and the two other survivors strapped themselves in, silent and pale. Power levels at 30%, Jace reported quietly. Radiation's climbing. If we don't get clear of the wreck soon, the drive's going to melt. Just hold it together, Kara replied. We'll make it to high orbit. Earth Command will find us. Outside, the stars pulsed with strange shadows. The alien ships moved like living creatures, smooth, slow, deliberate. No engine trails, no exhaust. They floated in the dark, their shapes shifting slightly as if breathing. Each one shimmered with the same symbols burned into the surface of the captured drones. The extinct ones had returned, and they were everywhere. Down on Ith, General Morik stood inside the Central Defense Command bunker, watching the invasion unfold on the holo display. The holographic Earth in front of him flickered with red warnings. Whole continents marked lost contact. Around him, officers shouted orders, their voices overlapping in a blur of fear and static. Deploy the orbital defense grid. Morek barked. Activate all fleet wings. Nothing enters lower orbit without permission. A younger officer turned. So, Admiral Reyes' fleet is already en route. Is leading the first counterstrike from Titan orbit. Morek exhaled slowly. Then God help us all. Far beyond the moon, the human fleet gathered, 1,000 ships shining like silver knives against the black. They were the pride of the Solar Alliance, armed with plasma lancers, drone carriers, and shield arrays that could withstand suns. At their center was the flagship Resolute, under Admiral Elias Reyes, a man known for winning impossible wars. Reyes stood at the bridge window, watching the alien armada move toward them. "How many signatures confirmed?" he asked. "Over 200, sir," replied the sensor officer. "But they don't have a formation. It's like they're everywhere and nowhere. Readings keep shifting." Reyes narrowed his eyes. "Everywhere and nowhere. That's impossible." "Not if they're folding space," another officer said. "Sir, we've detected micro-distortions around every vessel. They are bending the void itself." Reyes straightened. "All ships, prepare to fire. We strike first." The human fleet unleashed everything at once. Plasma beams cut across the darkness, missiles streaked toward their targets, and the void lit up like a sunrise. For a brief second, the Admiral believed they could win. Then the alien ships vanished. The missiles exploded into empty space. Beams of energy passed through shadows that were no longer there. And in the next heartbeat, the extinct ones reappeared, behind them. The fleet's rear line went silent. One by one, the ships burst apart as invisible energy tore through their hulls. Massive explosions lit the void. Reyes' comms filled with screams. "Admiral, they're inside our formation. They are phasing through us. Our targeting systems can't lock. Shields are collapsing. Hold position." Reyes shouted. "Counter-rotate and focus fire." But it was no use. The enemy moved faster than thought. Each alien ship seemed to split into a dozen reflections, warping through light and distance. Within minutes, entire human squadrons were gone. On the edge of the battle, Kara's shuttle caught the shockwaves from the fight. The blast rocked the ship so hard she nearly lost control. Through the cracked viewport, she saw the impossible sight, the mighty Resolute engulfed in white fire, its hull peeling away like paper. Jace grabbed her shoulder. "That's the fleet. They are being wiped out." Kara's eyes filled with cold determination. "We have to reach Earth Command. They need to know what we found." "What we found?" She opened a small data chip from her wrist unit and projected the recovered archive from Hell Ion. The hologram flickered, ancient images of another world, once lush and bright, now reduced to ash. A voice from the recording echoed softly through the cabin. Year 2197. Human colonists have secured the planet known as Elora IV. Local species, classified as hostile, neutralized. No survivors recorded. Jace's jaw tightened. "Those are the extinct ones." Kara nodded. "We didn't just discover them. We killed them." A silence filled the shuttle. Outside, the battle raged like a storm, and Kara realized what the alien message truly meant. We were never extinct. They hadn't vanished. They had been waiting, watching. Suddenly, a red light flashed across the console. "Incoming." A blast of energy struck the shuttle's wing. The ship spun wildly, alarm screaming. Kara fought the controls, her muscles burning as the small craft plunged toward the planet below. Fire filled the viewport. The last thing she saw before blackout was the alien fleet, silent, unmoving, as if watching humanity's fall with cold satisfaction. Up above, in the wreckage of the fleet, Admiral Reyes' voice broke through the static one last time. "To any human ship still alive, fall back. They knew we were coming. They wanted us to attack. This isn't war." The signal cut out in static. Kara's shuttle spiraled into the atmosphere, trailing fire like the rest of the dying city. And as the sky turned red once more, the words echoed again in her head. "They wanted us to remember." The shuttle crashed through layers of smoke and cloud, its hull glowing red as it tore through the atmosphere. Inside, alarms screamed while Kara fought to steady the controls. Jace held on to the side rail, shouting something she couldn't hear over the roar. When they finally hit ground, the impact threw them forward, and everything went black. When Kara opened her eyes, it was morning, or what passed for morning. The air was thick with dust, the sky gray and broken. They had landed somewhere near the old Terran ruins outside New London, the city now silent and half-buried. The shuttle was wrecked, one engine gone, smoke rising from its side. Jace groaned beside her. "We alive?" "Barely." Kara pulled herself to her feet, her helmet cracked but functional. She looked toward the horizon. Firestorms moved across the plains, and distant flashes marked where alien ships were striking. She could hear faint booms, like thunder rolling through the earth. "They weren't safe here." "Grab the data core," Kara said. "We need to get to a comm station." Jace nodded and pulled the small metal drive from the navigation console. The archive they had recovered from Helion, the truth that could destroy everything humanity believed about the war, was still intact. They set out through the ruins. Once, this place had been full of life. Now, shattered skyscrapers leaned against each other like old bones. Cars lay overturned, and the wind carried the smell of burnt metal. As they walked, Kara replayed the fragments of the archive in her helmet display. Images flickered across the screen, footage from a forgotten age. Human ships descending on a green planet. Soldiers in white armor firing on unarmed alien figures. The extinct ones running, falling, burning. A voice in the recording spoke with calm precision. "Operation Cleansing. Complete success. Species neutralized. Planet secured for resource extraction." Jay stopped walking. "We did this." Kara didn't answer. She didn't have to. The truth was too heavy to say aloud. After an hour, they reached the old command outpost, a small underground bunker half hidden by debris. The doors were sealed, but Jace managed to power up the manual lock. Inside, flickering lights revealed dusty consoles and the skeletons of long-dead soldiers. It looked like no one had been here for decades. Kara found the main terminal and plugged in the data core. The screen lit up, showing the crest of the Solar Alliance. "Authorization required," it said. She entered her code. The terminal paused, then unlocked. Dozens of secret files appeared, military orders, photos, logs, all marked classified level Omega. Kara opened one at random. The first line froze her in place. "Commander Rios, your mission is to erase all records of Operation Cleansing. The extinction of the Alara species must never reach public knowledge. Humanity cannot afford another scandal. Burn the archives. Silence the witnesses." She stayed at the words until her chest tightened. Commander Rios, the same man who had laughed at her warning hours ago, had been part of the cover-up. Jace leaned closer. They knew. They knew everything. A low rumble shook the ground. Kara looked up. Dust fell from the ceiling. Then the sound came again, louder this time. Engines. She ran to the small window and peered out. Hovercraft were approaching across the ruins. Human vehicles, not alien. Black armor. The crest of Earth Command. "They're not here to rescue us," she said quietly. The hovercraft stopped outside. Soldiers poured out, weapons drawn. One of them lifted a megaphone. "Lieutenant Kara Halen, by order of Earth Command Intelligence, you are under arrest for possession of restricted data. Surrender immediately." Jace's eyes widened. "They're going to bury this again." Kara grabbed the data core. "Not if I can help it." She ran toward the back of the bunker, searching for another exit. The soldiers began firing, bullets striking the walls and sending sparks through the air. The roar of engines grew louder. Jace shouted, "There's a vent tunnel here." They crawled through the narrow passage as the bunker exploded behind them. Heat rolled through the tunnel, but they kept moving until they based out into the open desert. Above them, the alien ships still hung like silent predators in the gray sky. Kara looked back. The bunker was gone. The soldiers were gone. Only a crater remained. Jace wiped sweat from his face. "They'll hunt us now." "They already are," Kara said. "And so are the extinct ones." A sudden light flickered from the horizon, a pulse of red energy stretching into the clouds. The ground beneath their feet began to hum. "What is that?" Jace whispered. Kara looked at the energy wave moving through the air, connecting to something far away. It's them. They're activating something. From deep within the earth, a rumbling sound began to grow. The ground cracked open, and a structure rose from the dust, a dark tower of shifting metal covered in the same ancient runes she had seen on the alien ships. The tower reached toward the sky, humming with power. The air around it rippled like heat. Jace took a step back. They are turning the planet into something. Kara stared at the glowing spire, her mind racing. Terraforming, she said quietly. They are changing Earth. The sky above the tower turned black. Lightning crawled through the clouds, striking the ground in perfect rhythm. Kara looked down at the data core in her hands, the one piece of truth that could explain why this was happening. We killed their world, she whispered. Now they are remaking ours. She turned toward Jace. We can't hide anymore. We need to tell everyone, even if they try to silence us. Especially then. But even as she said it, she knew how dangerous it would be. The extinct ones weren't the only threat. The humans who wanted to bury the truth might be wise. The tower pulsed again, sending waves of energy through the air. And for a brief moment, Kara thought she saw figures moving within the light. Tall, thin silhouettes, watching from inside the storm. The extinct ones were not just back. They were already here. Night fell over the desert like a curtain of ash. The sky glowed faintly red from the alien towers that now dotted the horizon, each one pulsing with strange energy. The air hummed, and the ground trembled beneath every beat, as if the world itself had grown a heartbeat. Lieutenant Kara Halen and Jay sat by the wreck of their shuttle, trying to repair a small transmitter. The data core lay between them, glowing dimly with blue light. We can't keep running, Jay said, tightening a wire. The towers are spreading. Every hour another one rises. If this keeps up, Earth's atmosphere will collapse. Kara stayed at the sky. They are not just destroying the planet. They are reshaping it, turning it into what they lost. Jace looked up. Their home. She nodded. Their revenge. The transmitter sparked to life. Kara quickly typed in a frequency. This is Lieutenant Kara Halen, survivor of Helion Station. If anyone can hear this, the extinct ones are terraforming the planet. I repeat. Static. Then a voice broke through. Lieutenant Halen, this is Captain Veer of the Free Fleet. We read you. Your signal's weak, but we're tracking you. Stay where you are. Kara felt a rush of relief. Free Fleet? I thought they were wiped out. Not all of us, Jace said. They went rogue after the Alliance ignored the first attacks. Minutes later, bright lights appeared overhead. Small ships, sleek and fast, descending through the clouds. They landed nearby, kicking up dust. Men and women in worn armor stepped out. Their insignias were mismatched, but their eyes were sharp. A tall woman approached. Lieutenant Halen. Kara nodded. You must be Captain Veer. Word about you reached us. You've got something the Alliance wants to bury, and something the extinct ones want back. Kara held up the data core. This holds proof of what humanity did to them. It explains why they are here. Veer's jaw tightened. Then we can't let it fall into the wrong hands. She led them into the main ship, a modified freighter armed with stolen weapons. Inside, a holographic map showed red marks spreading across the continents, each one a tower. There were hundreds now. Veer pointed to the map. They are linked. These spires are draining the planet's core, converting energy into something we don't understand. If it continues, Earth's crust will crack. So what's the plan? Kara asked. We hit one, Veer said. Find its weak point. Destroy it. Maybe we can learn how to stop the rest. Jace frowned. That's suicide. Veer smiled grimly. Everything is, these days. The crew moved quickly. Within the hour, the ship lifted off and headed toward the nearest tower. From above, the land looked dead. Forests turned to dust, oceans glowing faintly from radiation. Lightning danced across the sky, drawn to the towers like moths to flame. As they neared the target, Kara felt something strange in her mind. A low hum, not from the ship, but inside her thoughts. It grew stronger with every mile. She pressed a hand to her temple. You feel that? Jace asked. Yes, she whispered. It's like they are speaking. When they reached the tower, the ship's senses went wild. Energy levels are off the scale, Veer said. If we get any closer, we'll fry the engines. Kara stood up. Then I'll go on foot. Veer turned sharply. You're not serious. I've seen their technology. I can find a way in. Jace grabbed her arm. Kara, that's a death sentence. She looked at him, her eyes steady. If we don't understand them, we'll die anyway. The captain hesitated, then handed her a small drone pack. You've got 15 minutes before I call retreat. Kara stepped out onto the sand. The wind was hot, the air buzzing with static. As she approached the tower, her visor darkened automatically. The structure was massive, black metal covered in glowing red lines that pulsed like veins. The sound it made was not mechanical but alive, like the breathing of a giant. When she reached the base, a doorway opened by itself. Jace's voice echoed in her calm. Kara, what's happening? They're letting me in. Inside, the air shimmered. Strange symbols moved across the walls like light on water. The deeper she went, the stronger the hum became, until she could almost hear words forming inside her head. You destroyed us. You stole our world. Now you will see what it cost. Kara fell to her knees, clutching her head. Visions flashed before her eyes. An alien city burning, creatures screaming as fire fell from the sky. Then the image shifted. She saw human ships above that world, raining destruction. Her voice trembled. I'm sorry. We didn't know. The light around her changed from red to blue. The hum softened. Kara. Jace's voice broke through. Get out of there. The tower's charging. She looked up. The walls were glowing brighter. A beam of energy shot upward through the ceiling and into the clouds. Outside, the sky turned white. Kara ran, sprinting through the corridor as the structure began to shake. The floor cracked open, energy searing through. She leapt through the exit just as the tower exploded. The shockwave threw her across the sand. When she looked up, the tower was gone. Nothing left but molten glass and smoke. The Free Fleet cheered through the comms. We did it! Jace shouted. But Kara didn't smile. She looked to the horizon. Every other tower pulsed brighter, responding to the destruction of one. This voice turned grim. You just woke them up. In the sky, alien ships began to move again, forming new patterns. The air vibrated with a deep, rhythmic tone, the same one that had haunted Kara since the fall of Helion. She realized the truth then. Destroying the tower hadn't weakened them. It had completed something. We didn't stop them, she said softly. We triggered the next phase. The ground trembled again, and the horizon split open as light poured from beneath the earth. It was no longer just a war for survival. It was the turning point of the entire planet. The earth split open for miles, glowing rivers of light spilling out like veins of molten fire. The sound was deafening, a low roar that came not from the sky or the ground, but from everywhere at once. The Free Fleet ship shook violently as the crew scrambled to stabilize it. Kara held onto the console, her visor flickering. What's happening? The captain's voice came through the static. It's not just energy release. It's communication. The towers are talking to each other. Outside the window, the other spires pulsed in unison, sending beams into the clouds. The sky darkened, swirling like an ocean of smoke and lightning. Then the voices began, deep, lead tones that echoed inside every human mind. We remember you. We remember your fire. We remember the end. Jace covered his ears though the sound wasn't coming from outside. They're in our heads. Kara stumbled, her vision flashing again. She saw faces, not human, but ancient beings with crystal-like skin and eyes like burning stars. Their world had been green once. Then came the fire. The war. Humanity's war. She gasped. They are not attacking. They are remembering. Veer turned to her. What do you mean? Kara steadied herself. They're showing us what happened. The extinct ones aren't mindless invaders. They are survivors. What's left of a civilization we destroyed. The captain frowned. You're saying this is vengeance. Kara shook her head. No, this is justice and rebirth. The ship's alarms blared again. Massive energy surge incoming, shouted the pilot. A beam shot from the largest tower into orbit, tearing through the sky. In its wake, satellites went dark one by one. Global communication collapsed. On the ground, entire cities lost power. Billions watched the heavens burn. Jace gritted his teeth. They're cutting us off. No more networks. No more satellites. Nothing. Viz slammed her fist against the console. They're isolating the planet, making sure we can't call for help. Kara felt another surge in her head. But this time, the voice was softer, clearer. You burned our sky. Now you will see through our eyes. Her surroundings blurred, and suddenly she wasn't on the ship anymore. She was standing in a vast, alien city under a white sun. Towering beings moved with grace, singing through light and vibration. The city shimmered with living metal and glass. Then she saw human ships appear above them, vast war machines. Bombs fell, turning beauty into ruin. She saw children of light screaming as flames swallowed them whole. The voice continued. You called it colonization. We called it extinction. Kara felt tears burn her eyes. We didn't know, she whispered. It wasn't all of us. One voice speaks for all, the voice replied. Now one will answer for all. She woke up on the floor of the ship, gasping. The crew surrounded her. Kara, are you okay? Jace asked. She nodded weakly. They showed me their world. The truth. The extinct ones were human once. Everyone froze. What? V asked sharply. Kara took a breath. Not exactly human, but connected. A lost branch of humanity. They left Earth thousands of years ago when the planet was dying. They built a new home, evolved differently, but their DNA came from us. We wiped out our own cousins. The silence was heavy. Even the hum of the ship seemed to fade. So, Jay said quietly, they are not aliens. They are our past. They stared out the window at the glowing horizon. And they've come back to finish what we started. Before anyone could speak, the ship lurched violently. A massive shadow fell across the sky. One of the extinct one's ships, sleek and dark, emerging from the clouds. They've found us, the pilot yelled. Evasive maneuvers. They ordered. The enemy ship fired a beam of white energy that tore through the sand, missing by meters. The Free Fleet's cannons returned fire, but the blast dissolved before hitting the target. They've adapted, Veer said. Our weapons don't even touch them. Kara gripped the data core. There's something in here, something they need. That's why they haven't destroyed us yet. Another blast shook the ship. Sparks rained down. Veer, if I can decode this, Kara shouted, maybe we can find a way to talk to them. The captain looked at her. Talk. They are turning the planet into glass. Then we either talk, Kara said, or die like they did. Jace ran to the console beside her. I'll help you. We can sync the data core to the comms array. Veer hesitated, then nodded. Do it. You've got 3 minutes. As Kara and Jace worked, the alien ship circled closer. Its hull opened, revealing hundreds of luminous figures, not solid, but made of light and memory. They floated above the ship like ghosts. The crew stayed in silence. They are not attacking, Jace whispered. Kara's fingers flew across the console. Because they are listening. She connected the data core to the comms system and spoke into the MIC. This is Lieutenant Kara Halen of the human race. We remember what we did. We cannot change it, but we can make it right. The air trembled. The light beings hovered motionless. Then one descended, its form flickering. Kara felt it enter her mind. Images poured in, cities rebuilt, forests reborn, oceans glowing with life. A new world rising from the old. Then she heard the voice again. If you wish to make it right, then give back what you took. The lights surged around her. The ship's instruments went wild. Kara! Jace shouted. What's happening? She turned to him, her eyes glowing faint blue. They are merging with me. They want a bridge, a way to speak to humanity. Her body began to lift from the floor as the energy surrounded her. Kara! Veer screamed. But it was too late. The light consumed her completely. And then, silence. The alien ship pulled back, disappearing into the clouds. The earth stopped trembling. The towers dimmed. Jace fell to his knees. She's gone. Veer shook her head slowly. No, she's not gone. Outside, the horizon shimmered, and a faint blue light began to spread across the land, forming new symbols in the sand. She's still here, Veer whispered, and she's trying to tell us something.